So this is actually a great question. Sorry, that yes did not mean to come off so like rude. I actually get this question a lot. Anyways, that was a little rant. Do you get commission from the hotel? What's up guys, it's Annie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be doing an FAQ because you guys frequently ask a lot of the same questions. So don't mind me, I'm in my car today because why not? And oh, also I want to show you guys this sweatshirt. It's really cute. It's like a spin-off of the Roots logo. Right now Roots is like really popular in Taiwan, but I got this sweatshirt at Net and I think it's really cute. Net had like a whole like I'm from Taiwan line and I got a couple things, so maybe I could do a Net haul one day, but anyways, that's for another video. So let's go ahead and get started. Some updates from the CDC. So now that it's March, I don't know if you guys heard, but starting March 1st, they are allowing foreign nationals back into Taiwan because of the scare in December. They actually banned foreigners starting January 1st. So it's been 2 months, but now starting March, you are allowed to. And of course, you still need the visa. There's still no sightseeing or visitor visa. So you need to have a reason, which is like to come see family, school, work, business, medical reasons, or special circumstances, etc. And everyone still needs a negative COVID test. So whether you have a Taiwanese passport or not, everyone still needs to have that negative COVID test. And also the most important new announcement is that because they're cracking down on like the whole short-term rentals, like for example, Airbnbs, you can't do that for quarantine right now. If you are quarantining at home and there are other family members that live at home, they can't be there. So you need to, make arrangements. A lot of people that I know, the families will like go to stay with another family or like another friend for 2 weeks or stay at a hotel because obviously the hotel, it doesn't have to be a quarantine hotel. It can just be any hotel and then you can quarantine comfortably at home. Of course, if you fly in with your family on the same flight, then you can stay at home together, but everyone still needs their own room and bathroom. But other than that, they're implementing this one person, one residence thing starting March 1st. So just be careful when you guys are trying to figure out your quarantine plans. Just always look out for updates from the CDC. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have all the questions here on my phone and there's a lot. So I'm going to speed through these real fast. And if you guys have any other like follow-up questions or whatever, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I see y'all be watching my videos, but you guys are not subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first category of questions that I have today are visa questions. Okay, so do I still need a visa for my US passport if I have the National Without Household Registration passport? And no, you don't. So if you have the National Without Household Registration passport, just get the entry permit and you don't need to worry about the US passport visa or anything because it is the same length. It's 6 months for either one and you don't have to go through the extra paperwork to get your US visa. So just use your National Without Household Registration passport. All right, next. Can foreigners visit family? How long does it take to get the visa and how long is it valid for? Okay, I kind of just answered this. So foreigners can visit family. Yes. So if you have the proper documentation, you can submit it to TECO to get the visiting family visa. And then yes, once you have that visa, then you can, it's called the special COVID visa, special COVID special permit visa. And then yes, once you have that visa, you can use your foreign passport to enter Taiwan. How long does it take to get the visa? It takes about a week if you have all your documents. It's pretty simple. You just get all the documents that are required. You can always call TECO and then you mail it into them with your passport and everything. And then they'll fix the visa into your passport, mail it back to you, and you should get it back in a week. I heard it's faster, but a week to be safe. And how long is it valid for? So it's valid for 60 days, but then you can renew it twice. So it could be 60 and then another 60 for 120 days and then another 60 for a total of 180 days. So that's for the foreign passports. If you have the National Without Household Registration passport with the entry permit, you do get 90 days right up front and then you can renew it once for an additional 90 days. So also it's a total of 180 days. So regardless which passport you use, they're both going to be 180 days. And then right now, because of COVID, they are allowing extensions. They actually didn't want to tell me, but then they were like, oh, come back like in 2 weeks. And then when I went back, they're like, okay, yeah, we can extend it past the 180 days. So don't worry about that. It's just the same form that you filled out the first time or the first 2 times. And then after 180 days, right now, because of COVID, they're only extending it every 30 days. But honestly, I feel like they'll keep giving you extensions, so you shouldn't worry. All right, next. So I have household registration, but traveling with the National Without Household Registration, do they still need the entry permit? Yes. Just because the National Without Household Registration person is traveling with you, just because you have ID doesn't mean they have ID. So they still need to get that entry permit. Again, it's super easy. Entry permit, literally, I think it takes like 2 days. Yes. So they still need to have that. And the entry permit is only, like I said, valid for 90 days plus an extension for 180 days. And your passport with ID there's no restriction. You can stay. Okay. When will Taiwan reopen for tourists? Okay. I don't know. I'm not the CDC, but I know that they're keeping track of like risk levels of each country. So low risk, medium risk, high risk, and they're constantly updating it as like data comes in. Now that the vaccine is like on a rollout, I'm sure that there's going to be some changes in the near future. So as of right now, no, it is still not open for tourists, but I know everybody is like eyeing Taiwan because Taiwan got super famous from this pandemic and everyone was like, what is this country? Why are they doing so well? How come everyone keeps saying there's no COVID? And I want to go there. So yeah, just keep an eye out for tourism because I'm hoping that CDC will do something soon. Okay, next, can I apply for the special entry visa through BOCA or does it have to be through TECO? Okay, so if you guys don't know, BOCA is like the foreign affairs in Taiwan for foreigners, and then TECO is outside of Taiwan. So if you're applying for a visa, you need to do it outside of Taiwan. So you need to do it at TECO. BOCA is if you're in Taiwan and you need to like renew your passport or something, then you would go to BOCA. So yes, the answer is go to TECO. Next, I have a Taiwan with ID and US passport. Which one do I use to book my flight? Okay, I would say to use your Taiwan passport just because I heard if you use your foreign passport, you might not necessarily get the goodie bag. I don't know. But if you have the Taiwan passport, then you might as well just use that. All right, next. I thought US citizens could travel to Taiwan visa-free before the pandemic. Yes, you answered your own question. It was before the pandemic, it was visa-free, but now because of COVID, the whole world has changed and now you do need to have a visa because there are no sightseeing. There's no sightseeing right now. Next. So you don't need a COVID test if you have a Taiwan passport? No. Okay, I know this is confusing because in my first few videos, that was before December, before everyone was required to have a COVID test. So because I have a Taiwan passport, I did not need a COVID test at that time. But since December, because they knew there was going to be an influx of travelers for the holidays, New Year's, whatever, everybody needs a negative COVID test now, regardless. If you have a Taiwan passport, you still need to have the negative COVID test. Okay, so that is all the questions for like the visa section. So many of you guys had questions about like the phone that I got from the government. I don't know why this is such a big deal. I guess because of like, you know, you're worried about contact tracing, but I got a lot of questions about the phone that I got. Okay, so number one, how did you get the government provided cell phone? Okay, so I explained this pretty clearly, I think, in my video, but anyways, if you guys weren't paying attention, what happened was when I filled out the health declaration form, they said I could use my international phone number because I had roaming. So they were like, oh yeah, as long as, you know, we can call you, then we can track you. Okay, that was incorrect information. They were not able to track me. And by the time that they figured this out, I was already at my hotel at the quarantine location. And so it wasn't like I could go back to the airport and buy a SIM card or go out and buy a SIM card. So what ended up happening was they basically had to give me a phone. So somebody knocked on my door from the government and just dropped me off a phone. So that's how I got it. Next, how long is the line for SIM cards? Do you suggest buying one in advance? Obviously, quarantine has been happening for a while now, literally a year. So it's pretty streamlined at the airport. They have everything pretty much down. So even if you think the lines are long, they like have volunteers there and they have a bunch of booths. So like you're funneling right after you get off the plane. So I wouldn't be too worried about waiting in line too long. Do you suggest buying one in advance? So I mean, yeah, why not? Then you can just skip the line regardless of how long or short it is. So one thing that I would suggest is if you have friends or family that are in Taiwan right now, I would suggest that you just have someone there buy it for you like now and then leave it at your quarantine location. If you're going to quarantine at home, just have them leave it at your house. Or if you're going to be at a hotel, you can leave it at the front lobby or they can always drop it off after you arrive, whatnot. That way you don't need to wait in line once you get off the plane. Next, what happens if I don't receive the SMS upon landing? Okay, so I did not receive the SMS upon landing. I don't know what happened, but this happens to a lot of people. This is very common. So in the health declaration form, once you like refresh the page, at the top, there's like a bright red troubleshooting button. You literally just click that and then it says like enter your phone number. So you just enter your phone number and then it'll auto-populate what you're supposed to see when you get the SMS text. So I wouldn't be worried about that at all. Even if it's SMS is delayed, just click on the troubleshooting button and then get your screenshot. Okay, I don't have a Taiwan phone number. After I land, is there a chance to get one before getting to my quarantine location? Yes. Once you get off the plane, once you exit the gate, literally like you're going up the ramp with your carry-on luggage before you even like see the bathroom or anything, there are phone carrier booths right there. Usually they're outside of the terminal, outside of baggage claim, but because of COVID, you need to have a SIM card for quarantine. They've moved everyone inside the terminal. So it's literally right outside the tunnel once you get off the plane. So yes, there is a chance for you to buy a SIM card. So don't worry. Next, can I use a US phone number for quarantine tracking? Okay, so I just want to tell you no because they told me yes and I tried it and it didn't work. So So just get the Taiwan phone number. It'll be easier for everyone, and then you don't need to worry about cops like trying to reach you or contact you or coming to your door because they can't call you, track you, whatever. So just get the Taiwan SIM card. Learn from my mistake, okay? Next, was the government provided phone free? Yes, it was free. Obviously, I had to return it afterwards, so I just left it at my hotel lobby because that's what they told me to do. So I guess, yeah, it was free. I used it for like 2 weeks, barely. Literally, someone just called me and then a text a day. That's it. But yeah, I didn't have to pay for that. Next, are the government texts and calls at a certain time of day, or are they random? Okay, in my opinion, I think it's completely random. Some people get called every day. Some people get called every other day. Some people barely get called at all. I think I was only called like a total of 4 times, maybe like 2 times toward the beginning, 1 time toward the middle of my quarantine, and then 1 time, yeah, probably 2 times towards the middle, because the last like 5 days, I don't think I got a call at all. But the texts are every day. So you get the line message every day to report your temperature, and you get like the actual text message every day to report if you have any symptoms or not. And then always make sure to measure your temperature and write it down on your temperature sheet. Okay, do you still fill out the online form if you need to get a SIM when you get to Taiwan? Yes, everybody needs to fill out the health declaration. And if you don't have a phone number, it's fine. You can just get one when you're in Taiwan. You can always just like tell your airline that you don't have a SIM card yet. This is super common. Majority of the people buy their SIM card once they get off the plane. So they might have you like sign a piece of paper or whatever, or you can use your US phone number temporarily until you get to Taiwan. So yeah, don't worry about that at all. Yes, you still need to fill out the online health declaration even if you don't have a Taiwan SIM card. Okay, next is transportation. So a lot of people have some questions about transportation. I have a video of like all the transportation options and the prices and whatever. So first question, are the set prices for the quarantine bus/taxi the same for foreigners or only Taiwanese nationals? It's the same. The quarantine situation is a whole like government protocol. So it's the same price for everyone who's quarantining. So it doesn't matter if you're a national or if you're a foreigner. Next, does the quarantine bus drop you off at your quarantine location? So no, not really. The bus has like set stops in each major cities towards the middle and south of Taiwan. And then you just need to, if you're going to quarantine at a hotel, you need to tell your quarantine hotel that you're taking the bus so they can arrange a taxi to pick you up at the bus stop. And it has to be one of those like quarantine taxis. You can't just like get off the bus and hail a taxi. No, because the quarantine taxis can only take quarantine passengers and then they have to go and disinfect their car. Or if you don't want to take a taxi and you have like friends or family who live in the city that you're quarantining in, they can pick you up from the bus stop and then bring you to the quarantine location. But please be careful and just be smart about sanitation. And you have to go directly to your quarantine location, so you can't stop off and like, eat first. No public. Okay, next. Can I arrange my own private car for airport pickup? My whole family will be arriving together, plus all of our luggage won't fit in a taxi. Yes, you can arrange for your own private car. It doesn't you don't have to use a quarantine taxi, and if you don't have friends or family, you can arrange for your own private car. But please keep in mind, you cannot use any shared services. For example, Uber, you cannot do that. So you can arrange for your own private car, and just make sure to let them know that you're quarantining. I think it's pretty obvious if they're going to be picking you up at the airport and bringing like a whole family with luggage to a facility. Just let them know. Yeah, you can. Okay, next. Can I get cash before taking the quarantine taxi? Yes, there are ATMs. Sorry, that yes did not mean to come off so like rude. But yes, there are ATMs right next to the exit before you get to the quarantine taxi area. There are ATMs there if you want to get cash. There is also a currency exchange counter like right at the same place, like right in front of the door before you exit to get to the quarantine taxi. And there's a currency exchange. So if you have cash with you, you can just go there to exchange it for NTD. Otherwise, there are ATMs there if you just have like a bank card, a debit card. Okay, next. Who arranged your quarantine taxi? Did you have to call in advance, or does the government book it for you? Okay, you don't need to book it in advance because literally majority of the people are going to be taking the quarantine taxi. So you just follow everyone outside of the doors after baggage claim, and then there's like a whole line of taxis waiting to bring you. So no, you don't need to book it in advance, and no, the government doesn't book it for you. You literally just go out and line up and tell them where you're going, and they'll contact trace. Okay, next. Can I have a relative pick me up from the airport, or do I have to take one of the government quarantine options, for example, the taxi or the bus? Yeah, you can have a relative pick you up. That's totally fine. You don't have to take the quarantine taxi or bus. Again, just be smart about it and just make sure that, you're taking the proper precautions and go straight to your quarantine location. No stopping off. Just be smart. Play your part, okay? Here we go. So a ton of questions about quarantine in general. So let's get started.